Thank you so much for joining in. We got breaking news coming out from the south border of Tapachula, Mexico. Again, we have been informing this, the micro caravans have been leaving the south border. We have been informing this since the Trump administration won the election. And we called this. We were first ones that called this, that this was inevitable and that this was going to happen. And the midterms were going to come up. And ultimately, this was going to be a mess. And that more caravans and more massive fluency of immigrants are going to grow. We have been reporting nearly a couple of months ago. I went down south to Tapachula, and I interviewed one of the leaders of the caravans, and also I said it. If the Democrats win the midterms, or if the Democrats win the next elections, this will be a complete mess. And guess what happened? Now, another caravan that is going to be leaving on the 20th of August. We got information of this caravan leaving on the 20th of August around 17 days ago that they were forming another caravan. I said, it's going to be another micro caravan. And it resulted that it's going to be in like around 1,000 people. Now, it's breaking news. Why? Because of the intentions that we have been saying of these people, what their intentions are if the Democrats win the midterms. And if they're informed, are the migrants informed of what's going on with the midterms? Are they informed of what can happen if Donald Trump leaves office and leaves the United States of America as a president? What is going to happen and what is their mentality and who's coaching the migrants to understand this? They're clearly smart about everything. I have traveled with all of them and they know the politics inside of the United States of America. But ultimately, this will shock you the way that they know about the Senate. They know about the midterms. They know about Congress. They know about anything. And they know that it can be a possibility if they reinstate asylum into the north borders that connect Mexico with the United States of America. Listen to this migrant that is going to leave on the 20th of August on this caravan. Listen to this.
Pero Marvin, si abren la frontera sur y sale Donald Trump de la presidencia, ¿usted regresaría a Estados Unidos?
I will return the video because I need you to understand the translation. Now, the question that is really, it's simple. If Donald Trump leaves office and he stops being the president of the United States of America, will you go to the United States of America? And he says immediately, absolutely. But listen to this interview. Listen to it. And, this has captions right there. It's really easy for you guys to read. I put it in yellow letters for you guys to catch it and for you guys to understand what he's saying.
José Torre Barahona. Pero Marvin, si abren la frontera sur y sale Donald Trump de la presidencia, ¿usted regresaría a Estados Unidos?
Claro que sí, perfectamente, claro que sí. No solamente yo, vemos muchas personas de que anhelan estar allá, pero desgraciadamente la administración de Donald Trump no sirve y la gente que entra corre un gran riesgo hasta que lo maten los de migración de parte de Donald Trump. Entonces, ¿qué se espera? De que gane la Cámara del Senado de los demócratas y para adelante todos los migrantes a levantar a los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica.
So what are we waiting for? For the Congress and the House of Congress to be won by the Democrats, and we will be ready to go to lift the United States of America. It's unbelievable.
Más o menos cuánta gente cree que entre desde que Donald Trump se cerró las puertas y están esperando que abran.
Pues me imagino de que 20, 25 mil personas, 30 mil personas. Incluso ahorita estamos eventuando una caravana que vamos entre 2.000 a 2.500 personas para el día jueves, 20 a las 5 de la tarde y mucha gente que viene en camino, que viene con los sueños del sueño americano, pero desgraciadamente estamos esperando las elecciones del Senado para que saquen al señor Donald Trump.
Soy hondureña.
And he says, we are waiting for the elections of the Senate, the midterms, to get rid of Donald Trump. So they know about the policies, they know about the political situation which is happening at the borders. The concerning thing for us that we live in Mexico, it is that these caravans are going to start in the organized crime, and the cartel is going to be profiting out of child trafficking, out of child abuse, and also out of women trafficking and women smuggling, men smuggling. It is going to be a whole market again. The same thing again. Now, listen to this Honduran migrante hondureña, migrant from Honduras, as she explains also what she will do if Donald Trump leaves the presidency, and if the Democrats win the House.
Si abren la frontera de Estados Unidos y sale Donald Trump, ¿ustedes entrarían en Estados Unidos?
Pues esa es la idea. Eso es lo que nosotros queremos, entrar a Estados Unidos, porque la verdad él está deportando demasiadas personas a otros países que no son quizás del mismo país. Sufrimos y pues la idea es de entrar a Estados Unidos de lleno.
Ese es el sueño que ustedes tienen, ¿no? Que salga Donald Trump y que abran la frontera para que ahora sí ustedes vuelvan a regresar a Estados Unidos.
Así es, volvemos a entrar ya con las ilusiones de que vamos a estar allá trabajando y que vamos a ayudar a nuestros parientes.
So by now you understand that what we have been saying for years now, and what we have been saying of the Democrats, and also not only the Democrats, but also the globalists, how they control the borders. It is undeniably true. And the globalist compact of immigration of the United Nations has inevitably a lot of power in every border around the globe. Now, if you care to listen, and I will put this interview once again when about to end this live feed, they know about the elections of the midterms. They know about the Senate. They know about Congress. They know if the Democrats win, they can have a lot of possibilities that the border will be reopened. If they know absolutely and undeniably that Donald Trump is an obstacle and a huge obstacle for them to enter the United States of America, they know all this stuff. They're really informed and they're really educated on this situation, which means that, a vast majority of these people, they will, if they, come to the United States of America, they will produce more Democrats. They will not produce an opposition party, or they will not produce the counterpart of the political party of the Democrats. It looks orchestrated. It looks quite orchestrated to become one political party and one political party only inside of the United States of America. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. And we called it. We didn't call this just 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We've been saying this for quite some time. Now, I want you to listen to this video that I did a couple of months from the south border of Tapachula. Why Real America's Voice News went down south? Because I knew that this was going to happen. And my intuition said, let me go down there to see who controls the shelters, who controls the repatriation centers, and to see if these international organizations, the United Nations, OIM, UNICEF, the UNHCR, are still present on the south border. And what we have uncovered for the past almost 2 years of the Trump administration, it is that still these international organizations control the fluency of people between Guatemala and Mexico, and also they're still present in the repatriation centers in Mexico. This was our report 2 months ago. I want you to listen to this, and I want you to understand what is happening right now. The elections of the midterms in November are lost by the Republicans to the Democrats. Behind me, you will see one of the largest repatriation centers that have been implemented by the Mexican government due to the deportations that are being done by the United States of America. 4 flights every week to the south border of Tapachula, the epicenter of caravans, the epicenter of mass migration to the north border of the United States of America. It was right here in the south border of Tapachula that under the Biden administration, numerous caravans were happening from here all the way to the north borders. And this right here behind me, it is only a center for Mexican citizens that are being returned back right now under the Trump administration. Another question that is the most important one: who it is maintaining this place, who it is giving the service to this place. Guess who? The United Nations, OIM, the UNHCR, and all these other NGOs who your American taxpayer funding were funding under the Biden administration, preparing themselves for the mass deportations and ultimately preparing themselves if the Republicans lose the midterms in November. This is critical. This is why it is critical. Micro caravans continue to go out from the south border of Tapachula. Micro caravans are turning into 30, 40, 100 people, 200, 300 people still in mobility from the south border. According to one of the leader of the caravans, more than 20,000 migrants are scattered right here, waiting for an opportunity to move out of the south border of Tapachula because they don't have no job opportunity, because there is no opportunity whatsoever to move to the central parts of the country of Mexico. But what would happen if the Republicans lose against the Democrats in November?
They're already preparing themselves. NGOs are being present right here at the south border of Tapachula. The United Nations has never left. OIM has never left. The UNHCR has never left. These organizations need to be audited if the midterms are lost in November. November, it is going to be critical in terms to immigration going to the north borders of the United States of America.
So there you go. There you have it. I informed this a couple of months ago, and I have been saying this consistently. I have walked 12 caravans on the south border of Mexico. So I know how it functions. I know how they create them. I know how they construct them. I know the process. I know the political warfare that they are inside of them. I know that these progressive mercenary liberals are going to come and infiltrate these caravans and try to take advantage of this situation for their political warfare inside of the United States of America. I know the enormous abuse that happens on these caravans. I know the trafficking. I know the cartel, how they infiltrate on these caravans, how they take advantage of people, how they take advantage of the vulnerable people, how they put people that they are trafficking drugs with backpacks, and they are just basically walking under the smoke screen of vulnerable people. This is continuing to happen now. You saw the interview that I put you at first. Now, I went down there a couple of months ago because I knew that this was going to happen, and it is happening again, and it is happening right now. And I did an interview with the leader of the caravans, a couple of years ago. Luis Garcia Villagran is a pro-migrant activist, defender of human rights, and he's the director of an NGO called Dignification for Humans Dignification for Migrants in the south border of Tapachula. Listen to the answers and listen to the questions that I asked them on one-on-one when I was sitting down a couple of months ago. And then I will play back again this video that it was just sent to me by our cameraman in the south border of Tapachula. I will translate this interview.
Se avecinan las elecciones de medio turno entre republicanos y demócratas.
We have the elections of midterms coming up between Republicans and Democrats.
Hay una gran afluencia de opiniones en los Estados Unidos.
There's a great, enormous opinions of what is going to happen in the United States of America.
Que los demócratas tienen la gran posibilidad de ganar la casa.
And there's a lot of possibilities that the Democrats, they're saying that they're going to win the House of Representatives.
De representantes en los Estados Unidos. Si eso pasa, la agenda de fronteras abiertas entre México y los Estados Unidos puede pronunciarse de nuevo.
If that happens, we all know that the open border agenda, it will happen and it will come again to the south border of the United States.
¿Qué crees que vaya a pasar si eso sucede?
What do you think is going to happen if that actually happens?
Bueno, lo que pasa que Estados Unidos hay un clima muy contrario a Donald Trump.
What happens is inside of the United States, there is a climate really against Donald Trump.
Muy contrario. Definitivamente las acciones en el tema migratorio han influido mucho en la población hispana, que no son.
The decisions on the migration topic have influenced a lot on the Hispanic community inside the United States.
Menos en Estados Unidos.
That we are not we are not a minority inside of the United States.
Y esto nosotros pensamos que va a ser que al menos tanto los senadores como la Cámara Baja en Estados Unidos pues sea desfavorable para el Partido Republicano.
We already think that the House of Representatives and the Senate will not be in favor of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, or in favor of the Republicans. Sorry, in favor of the political party of the Republicans.
Y esto va a repercutir demasiado porque hay que ser sincero.
This is going to have a lot of repercussions, and I have to be sincere. I like to say things the way they are.
Yo trato de ser lo más directo posible.
I try to be as direct as possible.
Agendas diferentes.
There's two different agendas.
La agenda de la presidenta Claudia Sheinbaum es totalmente diferente a la agenda del presidente Donald Trump.
The agenda of the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, is completely different of the agenda of the president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Ahora, ¿tú crees que va a haber una afluencia el doble de lo que pasó con Biden si eso pasa?
Do you think that listen to this question I ask him, do you think that there's going to be a more massive presence of affluency of migrants that it was when it was Joe Biden if the Democrats win? And listen to his answer.
Sí es, definitivamente.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely.
Con Joe Biden, todos lo sabemos, las fronteras estuvieron abiertas mucho.
with Joe Biden, we already know the borders were open. And listen to what he says right here really carefully.
Muchos niños desaparecidos, muchos niños no se supieron que salieron de Venezuela, de Honduras, de lugares donde la gente se está desgarrando, donde la pobreza es extrema. Eso los obligó a salir y se perdieron.
A lot of missing children. A lot of missing children happened under the Biden administration. A lot of missing children coming from Honduras, from Venezuela. And they knew that they went out and they left, their countries, but they never arrived to their destination. And then I asked this question because I walked with this man several caravans, and I walked with him the most massive caravan that it was around 15,000. And this is what he answered.
Tráfico agravante de niños.
Sí.
There was an aggravating trafficking of children in these caravans, and he immediately says yes.
Sí, definitivamente.
Yes, definitely.
Tocaron miles de niños no acompañados.
Did you encounter thousands of children that they were missing in traffic?
Niños no acompañados, gente de Guatemala. Es cultural que la gente de Guatemala salga.
Thousands and thousands of children of Guatemala. And, these children of Guatemala, it is a custom for them to leave at an early age out of their country.
A los 12, a los 14 años, menores no acompañados, que nunca llegaron. Es grave.
These are minors from 12 unaccompanied minors from 12 to 14 years of age that they never arrived to the United States because they were gone missing. And then he says this.
Grave lo que hizo en la administración de Joe Biden. Es gravísimo lo que
It is just aggravating. It is concerning. It is dangerous what Joe Biden did in their administration. What they did was extremely dangerous.
Quieren que se repita, pues adelante. Eso se lo decimos al público. Yo no estoy.
You want this to be repeated again? Go ahead. We say this to the public.
Yo no soy ni republicano ni demócrata.
I'm not even a Republican and I'm not even a Democrat.
Ni me interesa eso.
And I'm not even interested on that.
No creo que funcionen derechas o izquierdas o
I don't think that, the extreme right or the extreme left, it's going to function and is going to make things work on the geopolitical spectrum.
Extremas derechas o extremas izquierdas en el espectro geopolítico, sino lo que considero que son agendas diferentes, y la agenda que trae el partido contrario a Donald Trump es una agenda donde los más pobres, los menesterosos, los niños, las niñas, las familias que van a tener que emigrar.
And and he says this is something that is concerning. He says, the agenda of the Democrats, that is the agenda of open borders, the ones that are going to be suffering are the children, are the poor people, are the migrants that are being, the migrants that they don't have any money, the migrants that are being trafficked, the migrants that are being abused. These are the people that they're going to suffer with the consequences of these policies of open borders.
Van a ser los más desventajados.
So this is the let me see.
Se avecina.
This is the interview that I did with him. So by this, you can understand. I was a couple of months ago down there. I have gone to the south border of Tapachula since the Trump administration came into office for quite some time. I went into Guatemala with filmmaker Ryan Mata, and we went into Guatemala and we recorded OIM. We recorded the UNHCR, how they were closing the doors to us as we crossed on a water raft to Guatemala. And then we crossed to Tapachula and they were active. They were still functioning. And I was like, where in the hell did these people still get their money if USAID is completely shut down? Where are they getting their money to maintain themselves and to continue to, basically spread this ideology that, it's going to be only 4 years and you better be ready, because if the Democrats win the next election, you have an enormous possibility to go again and enter the country of the United States of America irregularly, illegally, however you want to call it. And we have gone a couple of times down there. This comes to me saying there's going to be a massive bottleneck. And why I say this, since the Trump administration came into office, I did an interview with the War Room with Mr. Steve Bannon. And I said this to him because a minute after Donald Trump was sworn in, after being the president of the United States of America, in that minute, 12:01, that it was 9:01 West Coast time, CBP won the application for migrants to go in through that application was completely canceled. And you're talking about that there were more than 1.2 million people that they stayed without entering the United States of America that day only. 1.2 million people that they had appointments. You talking about that you have these people scattered all over the north borders that connect to the United States of America. A lot of them have returned back to their countries. A lot of them left to down south to the city of Mexico, to Guadalajara, to other cities that they can get a job, and to other cities that they can wait and be calm and wait and wait and wait. And you have also thousands of migrants that are scattered to the central parts of the country of Mexico. The border is still open on the south border between Tapachula and Guatemala. You have a bottleneck of migrants that they're waiting in Honduras, they're waiting in Nicaragua to leave. And then you have this continuously problem in Venezuela, that is the earthquake, that is the extraction of Nicolas Maduro. You have a lot of problems in Africa. You still have a lot of problems in Haiti. Haiti has not constructed, it has not made good about themselves. You have these enormous problems in Cuba. You have all these earthquakes happening, and a lot of these people want to leave. And if the Democrats continue with this idea that they will open the border to everybody, it will become an enormous trafficking scheme for the organized crime and the cartel to make billions of dollars in fractions of a couple of years, in fractions of minutes, in fractions of hours, in fractions of months, in fractions of years. They will make billions of dollars out of the trafficking and out of the necessity and vulnerabilities of people. Now, after all that I have just played for you guys, this happened today. And today you have this interview. Again, I will play it again for the last time for people to understand how the mentality of these people, nobody at this particular time and juncture, people are saying, who's coaching them? These people are not coached. These people are intelligent. Migrants are intelligent. They know about the policies. They know about the political warfare that coexists in the United States of America. They know how Republicans and Democrats, they're going at it right now to who controls the border, who does not control the border, who's an asylee, who's not an asylee. You're talking about, these Section 8. You're talking about this. You're talking about that. Article 8 of the immigration in You're talking about ICE. They know everything about what's going on inside of the United States of America. Due to that factor, if they know everything that is going on in the United States of America, you have these kind of statements like this. Migrant, listen to this again, and I will play this interview again for people to understand. How concerning, this is.
Y sale Donald Trump de la presidencia, ¿usted regresaría a Estados Unidos? Y sale Donald Trump de la presidencia, ¿usted regresaría a Estados Unidos?
Claro que sí, perfectamente, claro que sí. No solamente yo, hay muchas personas de que anhelan estar allá, pero desgraciadamente la administración de Donald Trump no sirve y la gente que entra corre un gran riesgo hasta que lo maten los de migración de parte de Donald Trump. Entonces, ¿qué se espera? De que gane la Cámara del Senado de los demócratas y para adelante todos los migrantes a levantar a los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica.
Más o menos, ¿cuánta gente cree que entre desde que Donald Trump se cerró las puertas y están esperando que abran?
Pues me imagino de que 20, 25 mil personas, 30 mil personas. Incluso ahorita estamos eventuando una caravana que vamos entre 2.000 a 2.500 personas para el día jueves, 20 a las 5 de la tarde y mucha gente que viene en camino, que viene con los sueños del sueño americano, pero desgraciadamente estamos esperando las elecciones del Senado para que saquen al señor Donald Trump.
Soy hondureña.
Si abren la frontera de Estados Unidos y sale Donald Trump, ¿ustedes entrarían en Estados Unidos?
Pues esa es la idea. Eso es lo que nosotros queremos, entrar a Estados Unidos, porque la verdad él está deportando demasiadas personas a otros países que no son quizás del mismo país. Sufrimos y pues la idea es de entrar a Estados Unidos de lleno.
Ese es el sueño que ustedes tienen, ¿no? Que salga Donald Trump y que abran la frontera para que ahora sí ustedes vuelvan a regresar a Estados Unidos.
Así es, volvemos a entrar ya con las ilusiones de que vamos a estar allá trabajando y que vamos a ayudar a nuestros parientes.
So this is the what I'm talking about, the concerning factor, that you will have, and I hope, we need to understand, we need to start denouncing these activists that they come from the United States of America into our land, into our country, to take advantage of this situation and a political warfare, and to use this as a political warfare for their politics inside of the United States of America, and to use Mexico as a trampoline as a political trampoline for what is happening to in favor of Democrats or to in favor of Republicans. That is what they do. Plus, they take advantage of it. Plus, they're going to start asking for federal grants. They're going to start asking money from the government. They're going to start with their massive multi-million-dollar donations, and they're going to steal a lot of money and rob a lot of money and take a lot of money from the vulnerabilities and from one massive movement that is called caravans, or that is called exodus of people moving from Central America into the north borders of into the south border of Mexico and into the north border of the United States of America. You see now that there's a potential caravan that is going to leave on the 20th of August. We're talking about 1,000 people. That's not a lot of people. But the only thing that I got to say is that it's not the quantity. It is the mentality now of the individuals knowingly and understanding how the political warfare that is happening inside of the United States of America. And they completely understand, and not being completely honest and transparent, they completely understand that the midterms are they're extremely important for these policies to see if they can be, basically returned. They can be basically returned back to the Democrats. They can basically be, eradicated, and they can restart again. They can start from zero. They can start from scratch. They know all of this, and it's not shocking for me, because I know that they know a lot about politics. They're extremely smart. And we're not talking about the individuals that they don't have a vast education. These people know how politics works inside of the United States. And plus, you have these progressive white liberals or mercenary liberals that they're coming down and using our people and using the suffering of these people to make a lot of money and to make a lot of decisions for them, and ultimately coaching them, that they're helping them, that they're on their side, that it is about them, that is about their suffering, that is about la, 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 when they're actually making a lot of money from the federal grants, like Chuck Schumer used to give a lot of money to NGOs right here in Tijuana, right here in the border with San Diego. This is a lot of the stuff that is going to, and it's going to re-happen again. And, let's see where this goes. Because if this caravan started again on the 20th of August, I don't see no big deal about the quantity, because we know the bottleneck that is being created for years. I know about this bottleneck, that it was created and it was stuck here since the Trump administration came into office. We know about that bottleneck. That's not breaking news. The breaking news about this, it is that now they're coming out and they're saying, you know what? We know that Donald Trump is in office, and the only way to go in is if he leaves and the Democrats win. So now you have a political party that has declared themselves in the United States of America majority socialist, majority communists, and now they're trying to reinstate a name that is called Democrat Socialist. And forever, FYI, just want to make a quick pause. Whoever is so stupid and incompetent to call themselves a Democrat Socialist, completely stupid and incompetent, what you're using is the word socialism, and you're disguising it to making it look interesting and engaging by adding democratic. That's the only thing that you're doing, because everything that has the word socialism goes to the dirt, goes to the coffin. It is completely destructive. It is horrible. It destroys lives. It destroys countries. It destroys everything. So you cannot come to me and tell me that you are part of a democratic socialist movement. There's no democratic socialist movement. Don't try to pander. Don't try to just basically brainwash people to make them understand that democratic socialism is an actually movement of revolution. That is the most stupid and incompetent thing that I have ever heard from a person, really. It's really stupid and it's really incompetent. And we have to understand that the majority of these people that they say and they spread about this democratic socialist movement that is about to be a revolution inside of the United States of America, they use the terminology to cut the freedom of speech that is white supremacist, xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronophobic, fatphobic, racist, fascist, narcissist, bigot, Zionist, and all this stupidity language that they use, that if you're on my team, you're not that. But if you're not on my team, you're all of that. So we have to understand the seriousness about this. You cannot and absolutely not pander to this situation into not understand that if this starts exploding little by little, if they start exploding little by little, you know what is going to happen to this border of the United States of America. Everybody knows what is going to happen to this border. And not only to the border of the United States, the complications that Mexico is going to have. the complications of their security, the complications of the cartel, the complications of the organized crime, the complications of the extractions, the complications of kidnappings, the complications of mass graves, the complications of extortion, the complications of corruption, the complications of migrants lost, the complications of minors being lost and not arriving to their destiny, the complications of trafficking, the complications of trafficking of children, women, men. A lot of complications. And the only ones that they're going to fill in their pockets are these dirty politicians, these globalists, and also the organized crime and the cartel. Meanwhile, the people are still paying under an ideology that there is a country where you have a greatest American dream, that everything they're going to give it to you. They're going to give you a phone. They're going to give you a hotel room. They're going to give you all these amenities and all these facilities for you to understand that there's a possibility for you to stay when you don't even know if you're going to stay or not. Looks orchestrated, feels orchestrated, smells to be orchestrated. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. People, God bless you all. There's Buy Me a Coffee right there, pin in the chat. Thank you so much for your support. I need your support more than ever. And I will greatly appreciate if you guys go into that Buy Me a Coffee app and you try to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. It is pinned on YouTube and it is pinned on Facebook. Stay safe, and we will see each other in the next one. And like we always say, God's plan, it is.